So a year ago, my wife and I decided that we should move in with her family to save money, right? And this came at a point where we had lived at our previous house for 10 years. We got married in 2015. We started renting that house in 2015. We purchased it, I want to say 2020, right as the interest rates were at very low. I think we got a 2.7 or something percent interest rate on the house. So we bought it then, and we had been living in it ever since 2015, so for 10 years. And it just came to this point where things weren't quite working out financially. We were struggling quite a bit. We had a lot of debt that we were carrying. We were carrying credit card debt, student loan debt. We had SBA loans. There was just a lot going on. And so it was very difficult to get ahead. Even at that low rate, it was still a challenge, to pay the house, the utilities, the cars, just life, right? I run a video business. And so that fluctuates from time to time. I get a lot of work at once, and then there's, dry seasons. This quarter's great, this quarter's slow. It all evens out in the end of the year, but it's hard to plan with a fluctuation like that. So an opportunity arose. We thought, hey, let's give this a try. Let's go ahead and move in with your family, her family. They had their houses set up for it. And funny enough, her two sisters and their husbands had also lived here for a time while they were saving up for a house. They were building a house just periodically. So we were the last ones to do it, and now we've been here for over a year. Just the other day I saw an article that talked about more people, I want to call them kids, more people 35 and under are living with their families now more than ever. I think that's what it was. I missed the cutoff age by 1 year. I'm 36. My wife is 34. Kelsey's 34. But we kind of fall into that category of like moving back in with our family. Our goal when we moved in was to get a grip on the finances, immediately find the leaks, do a huge audit on all of our finances, figure out where our money's going, what are we doing, why can't we get ahead. When we first moved in, I spent probably the first few months just getting everything compiled. All the student loans and their percentages, all the debt in the sense of different loans and their rates and payoff dates and all this kind of stuff. Ranked everything. I got I got turnpike fees when we go to Tulsa. I got medical bills like that we've kind of been putting off. Like I just tried to get everything that we owed, everything that was weighing us down financially, try to get it in one spot so I could see the whole picture. And thankfully for AI, I was able to throw it all in and make this dashboard, this interactive dashboard where I can see everything. I have an interest calculator that just, it's kind of like the debt clock for the United States, but it's my interest calculator. And it's just showing me like how much interest I'm building up every day. And I tell you a little bit about my dashboard. It's got two sides. One side's the debt, and it's going up, and then the other side is staking from crypto or savings account percentages, which obviously isn't ever as high as debt, but so it's kind of like this teeter totter. And then over time, as we pay the debt and build up our assets, then those will go faster and higher. But once I built that dashboard, I was able to kind of see everything, get a high level view of what I was looking at. To get a grip financially was definitely one of the highest goals because so much of our future depended on us getting a grip on all these things that were occurring. It was difficult to start a life because of the student loans. It was difficult to make maneuvers when we did have cash where we could maybe purchase a property or an asset or whatever, invest in something, invest in ourselves, invest in a stock, crypto, whatever. It was difficult to do that because we had this debt lingering over us. And so that was one of our biggest goals is, hey, when we go here, we have an outline for phase one, as I call it. I do things in phases. Phase one was, let's figure this out. Where's the money going? What do we need to pay off first? What's most important? how do we save money? So I started canceling subscriptions to streaming services. That saves a lot of money. I mean, overall, when you start looking through your credit card, for me there was a lot of things that just, hey, we don't need that anymore. We don't use that. We had a subscription to every streaming service. Well, we can only watch one at a time, and that's Crunchyroll. So that's the only one we have. I think we have Crunchyroll and Netflix now, but Paramount for UFC. But a few of the things, living with your family, everyone, I've seen the meme that says you can move out of your parents' house or in-laws' house and buy an overpriced house and pay, pay too much for a house, or you can stay and save your money and pay with your mental health. When I told people what we were doing and where we were going, there was a lot of negative pushback, a lot of negative responses about how, oh, I could never do that. I would never be able to live with my in-laws, or never be able to live with my parents. And there was a little bit of that sort of thinking in my mind. And I would say there was probably some of that thinking in my wife's mind. You feel like you're a failure. You feel like you're going backwards, especially when you get on Instagram and you see everybody buying a house or buying a car or having a baby, and your dumbasses moving back in with your family. And so that reaction was definitely there. But being here a year, there are a lot of interesting discoveries and experiences that I can share with you. Being in a multi-family home or multi-generational home is something that I was never a part of growing up. It was me, my brother, who was 3 years younger, mom and dad. Pretty traditional family, right? Very dysfunctional. No, I'm just kidding. Very basic, and a lot of us come from that. My grandparents were far away. My aunts and uncles were far away. In fact, the closest family that I had was probably hour and a half, 2 hours away growing up. I didn't see them all the time, which made it special. We'd go to grandma's house, and that'd be very, very fun and very special. An hour drive isn't that bad. Hour and a half drive. You see grandma for the holidays, and you see your cousins, during Thanksgiving and all that. But there wasn't this constant exposure to them. And being here in my in-laws' house, there is constant exposure because both sisters live like across the street. So you got sister one, sister two, 3 kids here, 1 kid here. You got aunt and uncle over here, another uncle over here. Everything's really close. And so there's this constant flux and flow of family members. I have seen my nieces and nephews a million times more than I have seen them in the past decade. They'll come over every day, and I get to see them and talk to them, and I get to see them at different times of their day, of their life, different moods. I get to see them early in the morning. I get to see them late at night. The same with my in-laws. I get to see them early in the morning. Hey, good morning. How's it going? I get to see them late at night. And, being exposed to a person like that across time, you really get to understand them, and you really get to know them, and you really get to bond with them. And that was something that I didn't really have growing up in that regard. Not that I wasn't close with my family, but just not in that regard. There's some sort of comfort that comes with kind of sharing the responsibilities of cooking, of cleaning, of just being around each other. It's a very much more communal experience than I ever would have anticipated, which has been really interesting for me. Didn't grow up that way, but it's also made me think, what's going to happen when we move out? When we move out, hopefully when we move out, it is to a better house. Our finances are in order. We are no longer dragging around this debt. We are able to actually start life, start a family, hopefully have some sort of project or career or some sort of stability in some way. I don't know. The freaking economy and how it is and everything, so I have no idea. But, I'm hoping that that is the state that we leave. And then what? Do we go back to being isolated in our own home with nobody else? Or, I don't know. I'm not saying that this multi-generational living circumstance is going to continue, but it might, it might. If the economy is getting as bad as we see, it might become a thing for a lot of people. Will it become a thing for us? I don't know. Even right now, I'm kind of like, well, I don't want it to become a thing. I kind of want my own spot. And, I understand that argument, but I would say during the past year, and ironically, it was the year of the snake, which people will talk about shedding yourself, shedding your skin, shedding your old identities and beliefs and all that kind of stuff, that I absolutely went through that sort of experience, shedding my house, previous beliefs, previous habits, all kinds of stuff. I feel very different as a human right now. Feel very, I don't know, evolved or something. I'm different than I was a year ago. And so much of that comes from loss. And my main value that I seek and strive for overall is freedom, as you can tell. Whoops. As you can tell. That's funny. Camera's backwards. As you can tell, Aaron and I have a lot in common. We want freedom. I want freedom. I want freedom to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I want financial freedom to not worry about the small things or the big things. I want to be able to have the financial freedom to help others around me, where things aren't a big deal, where you can just take care of the problems because you have enough finances and you've structured everything correctly so that you're not bothered by that. Freedom to think, freedom to speak, right? I'm after all of that. And living here for a year, I'm looking at things and I'm wondering if my definition of freedom is the real freedom, or if that's really what I want. I've lost all these things, which has given me the freedom to focus on some things, but I can't focus on everything. So I've lost. It's a concept that I'm continually mulling over in my mind. And, the same thing with, I live with my in-laws, so my overhead of living is low, which has given me the freedom to save money, pay off debt, and focus on my projects, particularly this one, starting YouTube and taking it seriously, right? Is that the freedom I was after? I don't know. That's, something I'm thinking about. And so all this to say, it's just been a very interesting year. How long will we be here? I'm not sure. I'm continually watching the economy. I'm continually looking at our goals. I'll say this: we've paid off a ton of debt. We still have some debt to take care of. We were able to save so much more. I would say in the first year, what we were able to do financially was to rip the emergency brake, change direction, recourse direction as far as the momentum of where we were going. We were headed to catastrophe. If you look back at the numbers, and I have, it's catastrophic to where we were going, to where this is unsustainable without some sort of huge intervention like that we did. So we were able to swap the momentum, gain that momentum, pay off our credit cards. We paid off our credit cards, the worst debt you can have, one of the worst debts you can have. Started to look at the student loans, started to look at the other things that are just kind of hovering around us and saying, okay, how do we do this? And just proceeding as best we can, but also taking in the experience while we're here, because we know it's not going to last forever. So far, so good. So I know a lot of people are in the same boat as we are. They are either, living with their parents or other family members. And what I would say is enjoy the moment. It won't last forever. The people that you are with won't be here forever. It's a moment in time that we look at and think that things are bad, but we're with our family. And as far as, where we are, people are healthy, They're happy and alive. So we should be grateful for that and know that, like I said, it won't last forever. We should take advantage of it, right? Take advantage of the moment that we're in, pay off the debt, or put time into your project, writing your novel, your screenplay, whatever it is, starting your baking business, whatever it is. This is a great opportunity to do that kind of stuff. A lot of us are unemployed. A lot of us don't have a career to focus on because either it's collapsed because of technology, AI, economics, or we've done it for so long and it just no longer serves us. We know that if we continue to do this, we won't be happy, we won't be fulfilled, and we're going to be struggling spiritually and mentally. And so again, maybe this is another time to readjust and ruminate on other possibilities. So it's been a fun year, learned a lot. Excited. I will make some other videos talking about financial breakdowns, kind of show you exactly what I'm doing or what we're doing in order to pay these debts off, reorient ourselves financially so that we can secure our financial freedom moving forward. I call this whole thing Journey to Freedom. And that's what my video series is going to be about, the journey to freedom. Freedom financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, right? And so that is my goal. That is my vision moving forward, is to find, obtain, and utilize that freedom. So, I'll make some videos about that. I'll talk about maybe the dashboard that I made. I'll talk about other goals that we have. We would like to build a house rather than buy a house. That's its own set of challenges. But where do we build a house? Because do we stay around here in our small town, or do we, bump off into one of these surrounding cities? Don't know. Is video going to stick around? Am I going to keep doing that? I don't know. So there's a lot to talk about, and I have a lot of thoughts to share. So that's kind of a high level overview of 1 year living with my family, with my in-laws. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer those. And stay tuned till next time whenever I make the next video. And glad you're here, and I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace.